Gresini put out a short statement on Friday, and most of the paddock treated it as housekeeping. Fermin Aldeguer will not race at Silverstone. He stays on the sidelines, in the team's own words, as a precaution. Then came the second half of that announcement, the part everybody reported and nobody read twice. The bike is not being parked, it is going to Iker Lecuona, a World Superbike rider Ducati re-signed 9 days ago. Nobody inside that garage said the quiet part out loud. So what does it actually mean when a manufacturer keeps handing your machine to somebody else? And what exactly is Ducati measuring while you are lying still? Start with what this injury has really cost, because the headline number is too small. Aldeguer fractured his T7 vertebra in Friday practice at Assen, at the Dijkersloot corner, at the end of June. Since then, he has lost the Dutch round, then Germany, and now Britain. 3 in a row. It is also the 4th round of 2026 he has missed, because he was already absent from the season opener after breaking his left femur in a January training crash. 8 starts from 11 rounds. His clearance to even resume training does not arrive until August 15th, and that is before you look at who Ducati picked to fill the seat. Lecuona is not a spare body. He had already done this once for Gresini this season at Balaton Park in early June, standing in for Alex Marquez while Alex recovered from the vertebra he broke at Catalunya. Lecuona had never ridden a MotoGP Ducati before he walked into that weekend. He had not started a MotoGP race since 2023. He qualified 16th, he finished 7th. Notice why the test rider did not get that call. Michel Pirot had already stood in twice, including in Aldeguer's own seat at the opener. An Italian championship clash ruled him out. Then there is Lecuona's day job. On the Aruba.it Ducati this season, he has taken 20 podiums from 24 races, 19 of them second place behind his teammate Nicolo Bulega. At Donington in July, he finally broke through. He led all 23 laps, absorbed every attack Bulega threw at him, and won by under 0.2 of a second. First World Championship victory of his career. It also ended Bulega's 25 race-winning streak. So Gresini did not reach for a stand-in. They reached for the hottest Ducati rider on the planet who was not already in MotoGP. Here is what makes that dangerous rather than flattering. The Hungary result did not stay a feel-good story about a substitute. It became evidence. For me, it is a 10. Honestly, it was a 10, Lecuona said afterwards, and within days the conversation had stopped being about him at all. It was about Franco Morbidelli, who had spent months publicly describing a grip problem he could not solve. Then, a World Superbike rider with no MotoGP mileage that season climbed on and made the bike look perfectly rideable. The race summed that weekend up as a 10 out of 10 cameo that made a Ducati crisis worse. That is what a Lecuona cameo does. He does not just ride the bike, he becomes the measurement. And oh yeah, there is one more piece of this that never made it into the announcement. On July 22nd, 9 days before Gresini named him for Silverstone, Ducati signed Lecuona for 2027 and 2028, with a raise reported alongside it. Gigi D'Aligna called it an important sign for the entire Ducati project in World SBK. So the sequence runs one MotoGP weekend, then the contract, then the bike again. Ducati paid before it called. None of this is Aldeguer's fault, and that is exactly the problem. He is not being punished. He is genuinely hurt, and he was honest about it from the first day. Still at Assen in the Gresini garage in late June, he told DAZN the recovery would run into the summer break, then added, "It'll also do my leg good to have more time to rest." That is a rider doing the sensible thing. It is also a rider volunteering time he cannot get back. Because the leg never really went away either. The January crash put a 30-centimetre rod in his left femur, and it was still bothering him months afterwards. He lost all of pre-season testing to it. He lost the opener to it, and the season he has been trying to rescue around it is going backwards. He sits 11th right now, on 76 points. Last year, as a rookie, he finished 8th on 214 and won at Mandalika at 20 years and 183 days old, which made him the second youngest race winner in MotoGP history behind Marc Marquez. This year, he has one podium, a second place at Catalunya. And this is where it changes, because the thing Aldeguer cannot defend from a sofa is not a championship position. It is a bike. On July 3rd, VR46 confirmed the shape of its 2027 garage in its own statement. One factory spec bike, which receives technical updates throughout the season, and one standard spec non-factory bike. 2 riders, 2 different machines, and only one of them gets developed all year. That gap matters more next season than ever, because the new rules put every Ducati on identical machinery. In-season updates become the only thing separating them, and which VR46 rider gets which bike has still not been confirmed. Everyone assumes Aldeguer. Assumed and signed are very different words. Meanwhile, the actual factory contracts at Ducati for 2027 belong to 2 people, Marc Marquez and Pedro Acosta. Aldeguer is not one of them, and the other name sitting in that VR46 conversation is Nicolo Bulega, a Ducati test rider who has spent years on Pirelli tyres in the exact season MotoGP switches to Pirelli. People thought this story was about an injury. It is really about standing. Aldeguer is not missing a race. He is being measured while he cannot answer. He knows it too. In the days after Ducati locked in Lecuona, Aldeguer was asked on Onda Regional de Murcia about being passed over for the factory seat. "I understand why they chose Pedro. They want the best riders," he said, before adding that he still has plenty of time to reach the official Ducati team. That is a young rider being gracious. It is also a young rider accepting a place in a queue that used to be described as his. So let us be honest about what Silverstone actually is. Aldeguer is not losing a race weekend. He is losing the comparison, on his own bike, to a rider Ducati has already paid to keep until 2028. If Lecuona qualifies badly and finishes 14th, nothing happens. If Lecuona does at Silverstone what he did at Balaton Park, Ducati collects a second data point saying a world superbike rider can walk in cold and be competitive on a Desmosedici, and Aldeguer becomes the man it gets measured against. Ducati never has to say any of this. That is the whole method. They do not demote people in press releases. They hand the bike to whoever is available and hungry. They sign the ones who deliver, and they let the results carry the argument. Less than a year ago, Aldeguer was the second youngest winner in MotoGP history. Today, he is 11th, on 8 starts from 11 rounds, with the word factory hovering over his 2027 paperwork and refusing to land on it. The question was never whether Aldeguer heals. It was whether the queue holds its order while he is gone. Is Ducati still building around Fermin Aldeguer, or has that quietly stopped? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.